Welcome to the Host Valley tutorial on how to edit your contact page. Upon logging into your website and being greeted with the dashboard, we will use our mouse to select the section titled Pages, and we will select all pages. Again, this will bring us to a page where all the available pages are displayed on the website. Next, we will use the mouse to find the page titled Contact Us. Upon hovering over, we will select Edit with Elementor. Please note that we are doing this as we use the Elementor page builder. As you can see, our internet has dipped, and there it's back. My apologies for the wait. As you can see, we are now using the mouse cursor to move around the website. Starting from the top, you can see we are going to edit the top section first. By selecting Edit Section, the window on the left will appear. Here we are able to stretch the section, change the content width, and so forth, including column gaps, height, vertical alignment, and so forth. As you can see in the structure setting, we currently have this section set as 2 columns, one for the contact details and one for the email form. Moving forward to the styling section, here we are able to add a background, be it an image or a color or video or whatnot. We're also able to add a background overlay, add a border, a shape divider, and so forth. Moving on to the advanced section, here we are able to edit the margin and the padding. As you can see, we currently have the padding set to 50 on the top. Removing this will bring everything up. I will now set that back to 50 and move on. We're also able to edit any motion effects, change the responsiveness, add attributes, and so forth for the section. Next, moving on, we will edit the column. Again, using our mouse cursor, we will find the column and we will select Edit Column. Here we have the option to change the vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, and so forth. In the Style section, again, we are able to add a background, border, and change the typography within this column. Lastly, in the Advanced section, we are able to fiddle with the margin and the padding, as well as the attributes, motion effects, responsiveness, and custom CSS. Next, we will move on to the actual widget. As you can see, this is a widget titled Heading. Clicking on the Edit button, we are able to change the title. We can add in an exclamation mark, or we can add in anything we need. We're also able to add a link, change the size, the HTML tag, and the alignment of this heading. Moving on to the Style section, we can change the text color, which we will leave at this green for now. We're able to edit any typography, as well as changing the font, size, weight, transform the text, style, decoration, line height, and letter spacing. We will now set that back to default. The same goes for the text shadow. In the Advanced section, again we have the option to fiddle with the margin and the padding. Going on to motion effects, adding a background, border, changing the positioning, responsiveness, and so forth. Please note that this is more in depth and you will not really require this. As you can see, the column for the right is an Email Us widget. Here again, this is a heading widget, which mirrors the contact details widget. Moving on to the next section, again we are able to edit the section by selecting the edit and then navigating the tabs on the left. Or we can move forward and we can edit the actual widget. As you can see under the contact details, we currently have the phone number for Margot and an email for Margot. Upon hitting the Edit List button on the left hand side, you can see we have a layout. We can either have a default or it inline. We will set it back to default. Next, you can see we have 2 subjects. One will be the cell phone and one will be the email. Upon clicking this, it will open further. We'll be able to edit the number, change the icon, add a link, and the same for the email. Change the email, add an icon, or add a link. Moving forward, we will now tackle the column on the right. As you can see, this is a contact form by hovering over the button. selecting the Edit Form button. On the left, you can see we currently have form fields, submit button, actions after submit, email, and additional options. Opening the form fields, these are all the fields in the form. As you can see by opening item number 1, the type is a text field. It has no name, it has no label, my apologies, but has the placeholder name. As you can see, it is not required, which we will change and make that a required field. Column width is at 100%. We are able to change this to 50, and as you can see, the column has now halved. We will put that back to 100% and move on to item 2. As you can see, item 2, the type is an email with no label, a placeholder type of email, and is required and is set to 100% width. Lastly, in item number 3, we have the type selected as text area with no label and a placeholder titled message. Again, we do not have to have this required, and we have unselected that. Next, the column width is 100% and the rows are 6. The rows are how tall or thin this bar will be. We can increase or decrease it. We are also able to close item 3 and add a 4th item. As you can see, we will first select the type. So if we needed a checkbox, we can select a checkbox. The label we will leave empty. And the options we can type in like so. We can have an option of yes, or we can add this, and we can have an option of no. My apologies, as you can see they have changed it. And the no will actually be added to the bottom line, as seen. Next, we will delete this, as we do not require a checkbox. We will simply select the close button, and you can see it has been removed. Lastly, we can go into the input size, and we have set it as small. We also have it to show the label, and we will select, we can choose whether we want to display whether it is required or not. Next, in the submit button, as you can see, we have a title for the send button, the size, the column width, which again we can change if need be, and the alignment of the button. We can also add an icon to the button and so forth. Lastly, in the actions after submit, this you will not need to fiddle with. This has already been set up and is all working correctly, as well as the additional options. Moving forward to the style section, we're able to change the column gap, which is set at 10. For some reason that is not working, I apologize for that. I will need to do my research. We should be able to change the row gap, the label spacing, the label text color, typography. In the HTML field, we can edit the spacing, color, and the typography. Moving on to the actual field, here we can change the text color. As you can see, we can change it to red, changing the color of the placeholder. I will now set this back to default by clearing it. Next is the typography. Again, here we can change the font of the text, or we can actually change the size of the text. As you can see, we will put that back to standard. We will close this, and we will revert back to default. Again, we also have the option to change the background color, choosing any color that we prefer. I will now set that back to default and close that. We'll also have the option to fill with a border, changing its color, increasing its width, or even adding a radius to it. Next, in the button section, we have the option to change the color of the background, the text color in the button, the typography settings, add a border, and so forth. Please note we also have the option to edit all the hover colors. For example, as you can see, the color does not change when I hover over. By changing the background color to red, it changes when I hover over. I will now set that back to default, as we would like to keep it to green. And it is staying. Next is the message section. And here, this is where you will type out your message. As you can see, my apologies, this is incorrect, and you will not need to worry about the message section. This is simply for whether you have a successful message, an error, or an inline message. Please note you will not need to fiddle with this, and we can move forward. Next, in the advanced section, we're able to edit the margin, the padding, add motion effects, add a background, add a border, and so forth. And that is how you would edit your contact page. Once you're happy with all the changes, you'll simply select Update.